Live now. My name is Jax West. Facebook pages and groups, Stephen Avery Project, MAM Gossip, Free Brendan Dassey, and Justice with Jax. Hopefully I can see in my video here. Right now I'm a little jittery. So I know when I went live earlier, I was like freezing, but then it fixed itself. So let's hope that happens again. You guys are able to see me and hear me and everything is all right. My Comcast internet really sucks. What we are here to talk about is Brendan Dassey was denied clemency today, or at least we found out today. Hello, Samantha. Let me go to the Facebook page, Free Brendan Dassey, where, hello, Elizabeth, where I've posted, I'll first read the letter that the state sent to Laura Nyrider, and then I will read Nyrider's response, if I can get to it. Hello, Karen. As my other page takes a while to load because my internet service is really slow. All right. Wait, no, I just clicked on Nyrider's response. Hold on. Pause, please. And for once, we're not live to go over Stephen's phone calls. I need a little break from that, or at least I do. All right. So it was sent to Laura Nyrider, and it says, "Dear Mr. Dassey, unfortunately, we are unable to consider your application for pardon because you do not meet one or more of the required eligibility conditions. Specifically, you are currently ineligible because it has not been at least 5 years since you completed your entire sentence for the conviction you want to be pardoned. You are currently required to register as a sex offender under Wisconsin Statute 301.45. If you are still unclear as to why your application does not qualify or you have further questions, please visit link here. In addition, the governor is not considering request for commutation. Thank you for contacting the Pardon Advisory Board. Sincerely, Pardon Advisory Board, Office of Governor Tony Evers." And then Nyrider's response is, "Today, only 5 days before Christmas, the Wisconsin Pardon Advisory Board chose to reject Brendan Dassey's clemency petition in an unsigned form letter without reviewing the petition on the merits. Had the board reviewed Brendan's petition on the merits, it would have seen what more than 250 national experts and millions of ordinary people around the globe see, a terrible miscarriage of justice. Now 30 years old, Brendan Dassey has been in prison for 13 years based only on a false confession that is inconsistent with the known facts of the case, has been disproven by DNA and forensic evidence, and was immediately recanted. That false confession was the result of a deeply flawed interrogation of a 16-year-old special education student with profound learning disabilities. Although the Pardon Advisory Board has stated that it will not consider commutations, Governor Evers is not bound by those rules. He does have the power to issue commutations under the Wisconsin Constitution and should do so when, as here, courts fail to deliver justice. Our partners around the country stand ready to work with the governor to develop an appropriate process for the review of commutation petitions. In the meantime, we will continue to work respectfully but relentlessly towards the day when the governor recognizes in Brendan Dassey the gentle, cheerful, and worthy human being whom we have known for 12 years. A good teacher never forgets his most vulnerable students. A good governor never forgets his most valuable citizens. We spoke to Brendan this morning. While the board's choice today has caused pain to many around the globe, Brendan wishes to express his profound gratitude and his Christmas wishes to his many supporters. He is not giving up hope, and neither are we. And it was signed Laura Nyrider and Stephen Drizzen. Hello, Nana. Elizabeth says, I don't understand how a confession is accepted as fact without DNA or physical proof. Right. So it's funny to me how things, it's depending on what side of an issue you're on. When people want to go, oh, hearsay is bad. Oh, hearsay is, that's a witness who says they saw this. So since they say they saw it, then it happened. There's just no denying that his confession was coerced. If you watch the actual interrogation and not just the snippets they show, it is clear. I went over this in the video I did earlier today. Brendan, what did you do to her head? Punched her? What else? Cut her hair? What else? Cut her throat? Okay, I'm just going to come out and say this. Who shot her in the head? This was a fishing expedition. Brendan didn't know what answers they wanted him to say. And the reason that is Brendan was interrogated on February 28th or February 27th. Okay. No interrogation on the 28th. What happens on February 28th? They find that bullet in the garage. Was it they found the bullet in the garage or they found the skull? Now I'm getting confused there. But one of those things happened. I'd have to go look at my article that I wrote after I went and saw Drizzen and Nyrider speak once. And Drizzen spoke on this. So they needed to call Brendan back in because now they need the pieces to fit this narrative of Teresa was shot. Before that, there was no shooting involved in this. So they needed Brendan to say it. So they bring him back in on March 1st. And that's when they're trying to get him to say that she was shot. But Brendan's not a hunter. Brendan doesn't use guns. So it's not something his brain is going to go to. So it's not something he thinks about, that you're going to shoot somebody. Punched her, cut her hair, slit her throat. He just had no clue what they wanted him to say. And they needed him to say it. And then they go, all right, I'm just going to come out and say this. Who shot her in the head? And of course, then Brendan is going to point the finger at Stephen. And he still doesn't realize he's now just confessed to a crime and he's never going home again. He wants to go back to school and turn in an assignment. No clue what he just did. He's just trying to, this is law enforcement. You're supposed to respect them, right? He wants to please them. And he wants to go back to school. Because, this is March. And Teresa Halbach goes missing at the end of October. So the family's been being harassed all these months. You just want it to end. And then this whole thin blue line, everybody protecting each other. So it's okay to cover for corrupt sheriffs, DAs, investigators, and to take away a 16-year-old boy's life? How is that justice? I talked about this earlier. We know that this whole thing is because Manitowoc needed to get rid of Stephen Avery. They framed him in the Penny Bernstein attempted rape. And DNA later proved he was innocent. He was going to get lots of money. And when they saw this opportunity to get rid of Stephen, they took it. Did they plan this? I'm not one of the ones that believes that the Manitowoc had anything to do with Teresa Halbach's disappearance. I give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of the thin blue line that they thought Stephen was guilty and they were just following orders. But there are those that know absolutely that Rav was not on the property until somebody outside of the Stephen and Brendan put it there. So if somebody else put the Rav there, then Stephen and Brendan are innocent. Somebody knows that the key wasn't there until Lank or Colborne put it there. Somebody knows the blood was planted in the RAV4. Are you going to take it to your grave? This has got to be eating you alive. Because all that being planted, the only alleged physical evidence is planted. How can you say Stephen or Brendan are guilty on this? And Stephen being a mean guy, an unliked guy, why would you take away Brendan's freedom? You have to know, especially those in law enforcement, you have to know these two guys didn't do it. And a killer is still free. Let me read and see if you have any questions. Let me scroll up on what I missed. Hello, Maz and Elizabeth and Karen and Nana and Jodella. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just reading comments. And Jen and Petra. Okay, so there's no questions, just comments. This is just unbelievably sad. Hello, Hazel. And I think, once again, Brendan had to have gotten his hopes up. You know, you were hearing all these people that were getting behind him, the petition and celebrities, you know, and all these lawyers all over. Everybody's agreeing that Brendan is innocent and should be pardoned. And now to have this come in going into the weekend before Christmas. It's really sick that you would put that out right now. I mean, I know they like to dump stuff going into a weekend or a holiday because they think it's going to keep the, you know, the crazy down to a minimum. I got to tell you, my phone today has just been constant notifications. My phone just going, because of people commenting on Stephen Avery Project, Free Brendan, MAM Gossip, and Justice with Jax. I can't even keep up with it all the comments and everything that's been put on there. Everybody knows that Brendan is innocent. Maz asks, what can Brendan do next? There really isn't much left for Brendan. Night Rider says in her letter that the governor still has the power to commute Brendan's sentence. So, he can say time served and let him go. I don't think that's going to happen. I truly think all that's left for Brendan is for the real killer, Scott and Bobby, to be proven. But even in Brendan's case, there are so many people that think the stuff Brendan said is real, but it's because of Scott and Bobby, not Stephen. So there are people that think that Brendan should still stay in there because he knew that Scott and Bobby did it, which absolutely, there's no way. There's no way Brendan's going to know that and not say something about it to somebody. Brendan couldn't keep that to himself. Again, he's a simple kid. He can't keep a secret. It would just eat him up. There's no way Brendan knows anything. So Brendan has a tough road here. He needs either the magic of Kathleen Zellner or his mom or any of law enforcement or Ryan Hilgas, Scott Blodorn, Michael Halbach, all those that know and are part of the cover-up to come forward. That's all that's left for Brendan. Okay, just more comments to each other. You could write to Brendan. I tell people always when you write to an inmate, please don't dwell on the bad stuff because they live that. That's in their, they can't get away from that. That's their everyday. Try and cheer them up. Ask Brendan questions to take his mind off of it. Ask him about, video games or, just ask him about himself. Keep it light. And tell him you support him. Don't start off by, I feel so bad, what's happened to you. Just say, you have my full support. I know you are, as Brendan likes to call himself, the complete and innocent. Brendan got life, right? Because all that stuff is, it also is like numbers for me, and I don't retain that, Karen. But I thought it was life. Oh, Petra says the guilters are all over the news articles commenting. That's disgusting to me that they would gloat over a boy with a low IQ being in prison for something he didn't do. That's so ugly and gross. Oh, yeah. Hazel, you could talk to Brendan about the Star Wars movie. Not a spoiler alert, but oh my God, my son hated this last one. I saw it last night too, but we didn't go together. I thought it was okay. My son absolutely hated it. All right. Maz thinks that Brendan is eligible for parole in 2030. Oh, Petra says they're like making fun of his hair and everything. That's all stupid to make fun of the kid's appearance. And if you've listened to any of the Stephen calls, the Calumet jail calls, they don't have really much choice of what happens to their hair. You know, Stephen talks about his haircut was horrible. You know, so who cares? You know, the appearance thing is so stupid. And that doesn't mean the kid is guilty. Just listen to him. Do you really think Brendan Dassey, 16-year-old Brendan Dassey, or even now the 30-year-old Brendan Dassey can rape anyone? The kid's a virgin. He's not raping anybody. Oh my God. And why isn't there any DNA? Why isn't there any fingerprints? There's nothing of Brendan anywhere. On the car, it is said in one scenario that Brendan drove into the pit in the RAV with Stephen. Why isn't Brendan's fingerprints on the passenger side of the car? Or on the stuff that was found in the passenger seat, because Brendan would have had to have picked it up to sit down and put it back down. There's nothing. There is nothing on Brendan other than his false confession. And when you watch the interrogation, it is clear the kid was told what to say or led to say it. That's why I know I'm laser focused on the, what did you do to her head, Brendan? What else? What else? What else? Be honest. Those two words, be honest, I can never hear it in any context anywhere now that doesn't flash me into that asshole trying to be, I'm like a father to you. You know, I'm a father. I'm not being a cop. I'm being a father. Be honest. Be honest. I do not know how Barb can continue to let this happen. Why is she okay with Brendan being there to protect Scott and Bobby? How can Michael Halbach, Scott Blodorn, and Ryan Hilgas be okay with Teresa's killer remain free? Wouldn't you want to know? And you know, if you helped plant the car, something's not right here. Look at all the evidence. Don't just go off of, you know, like the guilters like to claim about those of us who believe in innocence and claim we were just swayed by a show. That's what they do. Because every person I know, when you discuss their innocence, there's been so many rabbit holes people have gone down and looking at everything. There's nothing in it for me on whether Brendan is guilty or innocent. His family hates me. His family over the years have done everything they could to try and ruin me. So it would be easier for me to just walk away from this entire thing. Why am I still here? Because this is a severe injustice. Brendan is innocent. And even with me sitting here all these years saying they're innocent, if I found something that said they were guilty and convinced me of guilt, I would say so. because there's nothing in it for me either way. Where do we even begin to fix our criminal justice system? That things like this can't happen, especially to people who are forced to confess. You know, so there's Brendan, there's Marnie Yang, Melissa Kaluzinski, of the cases that I work on. Melissa and Brendan both have the low IQ. Marnie has the tougher road because Marnie is really super smart. And she confessed to a friend who was wired. Now, what you don't know in that case, or maybe you do, if you looked at the actual facts, the friend who was wired was told by police, you're going to do this or we're going to charge you with this. So she was forced to do this. And then they had been after Marnie and her family for a year, harassing them. And they had focused on her 16-year-old son. And so Marnie had said to multiple people, that is on tape, I'm going to make shit up. And silly Marnie, she believed in our system. She's like, I'm just going to say this. So, and then once this gets to court and I have a lawyer, you know, because I didn't do this, so there can't be any evidence that I did it. So I'll just say I did it to stop all this harassment. And when we get to court, it'll be proven I'm innocent. Because she had faith in our system. Oh, I'm so sorry, Baz, about your friend. Oh, absolutely, Hazel, that they use the same on Melissa Kaluzinski. That is the Reed technique. It was something that was designed and cops were trained in this. So by someone from Chicago, so from my area and Melissa's, the Reed technique. It's textbook, literally. And now it's something that everybody agrees is wrong and not effective because you are just forcing people into saying what you want them to say. You're not getting the truth. That's why torture also isn't effective. You know, the whole waterboarding thing, for instance. Jesse the Body Ventura. Let's talk wrestlers since Brendan likes wrestling. So Jesse the Body was a Navy SEAL in real life. And then once upon a time, he was this famous wrestler and he was in movies, you know, so he was in Predator. And then he was governor of Minnesota. He's been waterboarded. When you're in the Navy, you know, especially Navy SEAL, they're going to train you. You have to get waterboarded. And he said, this big muscular guy, it's horrible. You will say anything to make them stop. So you're not getting truth out of them. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. So hopefully you'll stop because they're dying. You think you're dying. You freak out. And that's what the Reed technique does. You know, it's down to, you can watch Nyrider and Drizzen at their Center for Wrongful Convictions. They had an event and the video of it had been posted afterwards. They've got experts on there that go way into the Reed technique, where you can learn all the things from, you're in the small room, you're not facing the door, you're sitting close to them. There's so many things. And when you look at that on all the things the Reed technique trains them to do, all those boxes are checked on what they did to Brendan. Brendan thought he was going back to school. Petra says, if he took the plea bargain, he would be eligible for release now. So why wouldn't he be eligible for a pardon? He would have served his sentence. Doesn't make sense just because he says he is innocent. Oh, Petra, that's a statement right there that Sweaty Sweat would just love. Because again, he goes, see, he should have listened to me and taken my plea. It's because he turned down that plea. It doesn't matter if that was something he was offered. The time he was given stands. You can't change that now. Wasn't Jerry Buting or Laura Nyrider Boss the one who brought out the Reed technique? Maz, that was because it wasn't Drizzen, it was the other lawyer. And I can't remember his name, but he was at the thing at Northwestern that I went to, that the video is available somewhere. And I also wrote an article on it. That the article is up at freebrendan.com, and I've also put it in MAM Gossip before and such. And because when I went to it, I took notes and then I wrote an article summarizing everything. But you can also, like I said, you can also go to the video and watch it for yourself. But the one guy, I can picture him in my head, but I can't remember his name. He just becomes severely angry when he starts talking about the Reed technique and how wrong it is. Yeah, Maz said it broke her heart when Brendan said he had the project to turn in. Hazel says, the cop exhaust, your whole being and your mind becomes numb until you don't know what you are saying or what is the truth or what is the lie. You just want it to be over with, so you give in. Yeah, well, like in Melissa's case, Melissa Kaluzinski, it's after how many hours? We know it was an accident. Just say it was an accident and it'll be fine. Okay, I dropped him. Bam. In prison now for 11 years. She just wanted it to end. She wanted to get home to Oreo. You can see that in her interrogation. She says she wants to get home to her puppy, which Oreo just passed away a few weeks ago. So now there's never going home to her puppy. Petra says, in one of the calls, Barb's tells Stephen that Brendan told her blame it all on Mark. That he agreed to what Mark said. Mark said it all. Something like that, meaning Mark Wiegert, I believe. Yeah. Wiegert and Fassbender. That's another one to look directly into the camera and go, how do you guys sleep at night? You know this kid is innocent. You know this kid can't hurt a fly. I'm a father. I'm not being law enforcement right now. I'm being a father. Well, if you're a father, how are you okay with this kid having his life stolen from him? Can't have a girlfriend. Go to prom. Have a family. Get a job. I just don't know how these people can live with themselves with what they've done. Hello, Trish. See, Maz is asking me, how long does Melissa have left? My brain, I say this all the time, numbers are so hard with me in any context. So did she get life? Marnie got double life because the victim was pregnant. I believe Melissa got life. I am going to see Melissa and Marnie on Monday. So I'll get to chat with them. You know, nothing's going on in Melissa's case right now, but a ton in Marnie's. So I'll have a lot to talk to Marnie about with everything that's developing right now. I mean, we just went to court for her this week and got a good answer. No, Melissa has been in for 11 years. Come January, it'll be 11 years for her. That's what I meant. So she's been in 11 years now. And Marnie is going on 12 years, I believe. Again, numbers, don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Melissa, 11, and Marnie, 12. Yep, that's what I meant. So, but all three of them falsely confessed. And then all three of them have had crooked law enforcement. In Marnie and Melissa's cases, it's the same people that have done it to both women. Same cop. Same, what is he? Prosecutor? He's not, I don't remember what his role is. He's running for re-election right now, though. Nierheim. So this is something all of you, we beat it into your heads, beat it into everybody you know's heads. Don't talk to cops without a lawyer. And poor Melissa, she asked for a lawyer, and they told her no. When you ask for a lawyer, they're supposed to stop, and they can't talk to you anymore. But they just ignored her and kept going. Yeah, Petra mentions how Wiegert is now a sheriff. Naz says, makes you wonder how many more innocent people they've put away, right? Yeah. So, and that's what I've said too, why some people will continue to cover this up because of this slippery slope. If you can get them on what they've done to Brendan or Melissa or Marnie, how many other people had that happen to them? Now you got to look at all the cases. How many other people did they destroy evidence that you were supposed to keep? Natasha, how is that confession not thrown out if she asked for a lawyer? Because that proof disappears. There's no proof that happened. And also, Paul Kaluzinski, Melissa's father, when Melissa was able to call him, he also said, stop talking to my daughter. We're getting her a lawyer. Now, yes, Melissa is technically an adult at that time. So her dad doesn't, she's not a minor. But they were told, stop talking to Melissa. And they didn't listen. Yeah, Maz, that's my dog snoring. That's Mallory behind me, the big one. For when she's quiet. Well, I mean quiet that she's not running around and barking at something. And I'm disgusted that they released this right before Christmas. I said how, yeah, they like to dump things right before a weekend or a holiday, hoping to not have the attention on it. It's just, where's your humanity? Really? Right before Christmas or whatever holiday people celebrate? Because I'm a happy holiday person. Everybody's entitled to celebrate whatever holiday they celebrate, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Yeah, Petra says, how the important stuff always disappears. Mm-hmm. Karen says, I wonder how Barbara feels today. Well, in my earlier video, I was doing the looking right into the camera because I know the Avery family watches everything I do. Barbara and I, once upon a time, were friends. I know Barb loves her boys. I know she loves Brendan. She's also, when you look at Stephen's visitor logs prior to making a murderer, other than the parents, she was the only family member to visit Stephen. Everybody else let him sit in prison and rot. She is really all that Brendan has. Brendan loves her to death. And Barb has to know. Even if she does not have Scott and Bobby telling her something directly, you know she's seen Making a Murderers Part 1 and 2. She has to question. Putting your head in the sand doesn't help Brendan. Maybe you don't like Stephen, but Brendan, really? Your son. I truly believe if she knew anything back then, or it was believed that since Brendan was 16 and low IQ, he would be tried as a minor and be out at 18. That he wouldn't be in prison, he would be in a juvenile facility. And I think she was okay with it, saw that as the only chance they had because of Scott and Bobby as adults. They'd be in there all this time that Brendan and Stephen have now been there. This is not right. Why won't you say something now? How can you be okay with these people doing whatever it is they did to Teresa? Why would you want to be with those people? Why wouldn't you want them off the streets? Why wouldn't you want them to get help? Who's to say either one of them won't kill you or your grandchildren? Let me read your comments. Maz says, pity Brendan didn't have your governor, Jax. Has he pardoned anyone? I don't know if JB has pardoned anyone. I've never paid attention to that. That's a good question, Maz. I'll have to look. Actually, I just saw JB 2 days ago at an event. Petra said, sure, Scott is happy. Scott does not want Brendan to come home. So, yeah. Hazel says, a guy named Dominic Izzo says he is an ex-cop whose boss was one of the cops who interrogated Melissa. He said That cop was a psychopath and he hated him. He's on YouTube, I think. Let me warn you about Dominic Izzo. Okay. I know him personally. He and I are both part of the WMP Justice Review team. So when we had the Marnie press conference, I actually was seated right next to Dominic. I've done Facebook Lives at Paul Kelly Uzinski's house, and Dominic was there as well. Dominic, in this case, he knows Melissa is innocent, and he knows what George Falenko is capable of. But Izzo is also very hardcore into politics. He wanted me to come on his show to discuss Marnie's case. And I turned it down due to the stuff he says and does on his show. So, you're free to check out Dominic. I don't support his YouTube and don't advise people to go see anything that Dominic does because it's such a hateful, yucky thing. And I also know, as I'm an admin for the Justice Review, that because Justice Review is connected to Dominic, we are getting a lot of hate from people can't believe that we'd be affiliated with somebody who talks like Dominic does. So, word to the wise. Natasha says, Barb should have been there with her son. I feel bad for all of them, but he might not be where he is if she was there. Not to be a bitch, but that's my opinion. And I agree. But there was also manipulation, at least what Barb had told me when we were friends. And I'm sure this is something that people could look into to see if it's factual. But Barb at this time was getting divorced from Tom Yanda. And so one of the times that Brendan was taken out of school and interrogated, Barb was in court for her divorce. So they timed it, according to Barb, they timed it like that intentionally, that Barb would be out of commission for when they took Brendan. But there's also the cases of when she was there. And she chose whatever's going on in her personal life was more important than going in the room with her son and listening to cops when they say, it's better if you're not in there. You're not taking my kid in for my 16-year-old kid in for an interrogation without me there, unless I had a lawyer, because that's something that Laura Nyrider convinced me of when we were working on the juvenile interrogation protection law. I talked with Laura Nyrider to get her input on things we should put in there. And so originally it was saying that a juvenile has to have a parent or a lawyer with them to be questioned. And she said, no, it has to just be a lawyer because a parent doesn't necessarily know the law. And she's right. Big things went off in my head going, oh my God, exactly. Because if you're questioning my son and I can see that you're like trying to accuse him something, I'm going to go nuts. And I'm going to say nasty stuff and all that. And I don't know the law. I'm going to look like an asshole. I'm going to act like an asshole. And how is that a benefit to my son? So Nyrider's absolutely right in that point, that a parent's not necessarily the best person to be in a room for that. You need a lawyer in there. But then what lawyer are you getting? If you're poor, and poor people lose all the time, you get somebody assigned to you like Len Kaczynski. And so if you can't afford one and one will be appointed to you, They don't work for you. You're not paying them. They work with the state. They work for the state. So, so you get somebody like Len Kaczynski who's going to help out the state. Let's just get this confession here. Fill this out. Click, check one of these boxes. Yes, you regret what you did, or no, you don't regret what you did. No, I didn't do anything and I'm innocent. Let me scroll up because I think I missed some. Julie says, I'm having unpopular comments regarding this denial. Wisconsin has criteria that must be met. I wish Nyrider would have contemplated an Alford plea instead of a pardon. Don't attack me, please. Petra, I saw your post in MAM Gossip, and I know, there's people that are taking it the wrong way. I totally understand what you're saying there. And yes, nobody attacked Julie on that. She's going off of the rule of law. And technically, for what Nyrider put in for, the state is right. Brendan doesn't apply. I like Laura Nyrider. I do. And I know she has Brendan's best interests. But I, too, think she's made some missteps. So I totally see what you're saying, Julie. And just don't let people draw you into the fight. I haven't even looked at the comments in there. And I'm so sorry if you are getting bashed. Just ignore it, because I know what you're saying and you're right. But people really, they don't understand, and they're hurt and upset that things didn't go Brendan's way. So they're going to lash out. So I'm sorry you're taking a beating. Just do your best to, rise above and ignore. I know that's easier said than done. Petra says, not sure here, but doesn't Alford's plea need to be offered? Well, you would discuss it. But the thing with an Alford plea is you're saying you're guilty while still being able to maintain your innocence. So if you have never watched Paradise Lost, that's where you can learn all about the Alford plea. And one of the places, like when we talk about Dear Zachary and how hard I cry in Paradise Lost when they take that Alford plea, that Jason Baldwin did not want to take it because I'm innocent. I'm not going to say I'm guilty to something I didn't do. I'm not doing it. But he wasn't on death row when Damien was. And death row was literally killing Damien for the conditions he's kept in that still affect him to this day. And to see Jason do that for Damien, it's just, I can't imagine. And that is huge that Jason Baldwin did that. And when you take an Alford plea, you now can't sue for wrongful conviction. That's why the state will, when they know the evidence is there, that maybe you'll be able to get out, you'll be able to get that reversal, we'll give you the Alford plea, because then we can't be held liable. You can't get any money out of us. Nobody can say we did anything wrong. So you really only want to take an Alford plea if you're death row, and that's what Kathleen says. She wouldn't take an Alford plea because she knows her people are innocent. But that's also easy for a lawyer to say who's not the one serving time. So you hear Stephen all the time saying, I ain't doing a life bit for something I didn't do. So maybe at this point for Brendan, that would be the best option for him, is to see if they could get an Alford plea. But since there's also Stephen to contend with here, I don't know, because I don't know what the slippery slope of that would be. I don't know if Stephen would be willing to take an Alford plea. I know when I used to talk to him, he said, no, he won't take an Alford plea. Because also with Stephen, it's all about money. With a lot of the Avery family, it's all about money. I think Brendan just wants his freedom. I think Brendan would be fine with taking an Alford plea just to get out and go home. Let me go back to your comments. Elizabeth says, Elizabeth is talking to Julie. Petra says, and I believe the governor can amend the criteria regarding clemency pardon. Yeah. So that's Nyrider has that in her statement today. Hazel says, a plan that backfired on Barb, perhaps. She didn't expect the cops to go that far. Maybe that's what she meant when she said in one of the videos, they lied to me. Yeah, I truly think Barb knows something. She just does. But she might be trying to be, the head in the sand. I'm not listening. Don't tell me anything. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Snooze says, but by taking the Alford plea, is that not admitting guilt? Okay, I already went over that before got to your comment. So yeah, you're admitting guilt, but you get to say personally you're innocent. Watch Paradise Lost if you have not already. I do not know if it is on YouTube, but it's in HBO On Demand. There's 3 parts to it. Watch all 3, watch them in order. There's also Damien Eccles, the main defendant in that case, wrote a book where there's lots of stuff in there that's not in Paradise Lost. So I recommend reading Damien's book too. And so you can see a little bit more there. Let me scroll back up because it keeps moving on me. Hazel says, don't go to Dominic's. I take it back. It's hard. I mean, this is Justice with Jax, so in my Justice with Jax stuff, we can talk politics. We can go there. I can fight you on it. Anybody on politics stuff here. I do not want politics brought up on Stephen Avery Project, MAM Gossip, Free Brendan, any of that, because that's on those cases. Let's please not get into politics. But Justice with Jax, we can go there. I don't want to, because talking politics really can turn ugly because people are so set on the sides. So Dominic and I are complete freaking opposites on everything when it comes to politics. And he likes to be one of those trying to be in your face and mad and crazy guy. And there is, just go there. There's my number one issue is abortion rights. And people might now start attacking me. All right. I am somebody who had an abortion at 15. I do not regret my abortion. It was the right choice for me. I then made the decision after that I would never have another one, and I never did. So I'm on both sides. I had it because it was the right decision. and I didn't want to have another one. I fought very hard here in Illinois to get legislation passed to make sure abortion remains legal and safe, no matter what happens to Roe v. Wade. And in Illinois, we passed something called the Reproductive Health Care Act and HB 40, which will ensure that people are safe here. And on the day that this happened, Dominic had some very hateful posts on there for anybody who is pro-choice. And then after that, he asked me to come on and do his show to talk about Marnie's case and Melissa's case. And I couldn't do it. I can't put, even though Dominic and I are on the same side when it comes to Melissa and Marnie, I can't do it. I'm not going to do anything to bring any traffic to his YouTubes. His YouTube show. I can't do it. I can't. We're just polar opposites. But when we see each other at Marnie or Melissa stuff, we can be cordial. But he also came for me on Facebook. He and I had been personal Facebook friends too. And so then he started posting his garbage on my Facebook page and trying to start a fight on my personal, not on any of my activist stuff. And so I eventually then deleted him because it's like, we're not going to keep fighting this fight. He thinks his way, I think my way. We're never going to come to a middle ground there. So it's, just move along. Let me go back up. Oh, wait, no, I got that. Julie's asking what's left for Nyrider to try. Well, the only thing she said is to still work on the governor to see if he would commute Brendan's sentence and say time served and let him out. But I just don't think that's going to happen. So we need the real killer proven. But even then, see, I say that every time, but even then you have people that think the stuff that Brendan said is all true and it was just meaning Bobby, and that he's covering and letting Stephen take the fall. So I don't know in Brendan's case what you do. Jodella says, is parents just asked or do they sign a paper giving officers permission? You don't need parents' permission. It is legal for police to pull your minor child out of school without notifying you and taking them and questioning them without you even knowing. That's legal. That's why we started putting together the juvenile interrogation protection law, which nothing came of it. This is why I'm also, when people send me petitions and stuff to sign, I ignore them. Petitions mostly do nothing. You need a huge amount of people to sign petitions for it to even be looked at. And we couldn't get people to sign. So Illinois passed something and California passed something. But even in Illinois, we couldn't get it to where it would be 18 and under. So I believe it's only 15 and under. And it's like, come on. So you don't need a parent to sign anything. They can take your kid. Oh, good, Julie. I'm happy to hear that nobody is bashing you. I was really worried about that. I mean, I know you're tough and you can handle it, but trust me, I know it's hard to get bashed. And there's times where I respond and get into the fight, and it's just taken me a while to, you do your mom thing, pick your battles. Just not worth it. Yes, snooze, the whole system sucks. Julie says, I worry that people are going to, and they are, bashing Evers and emailing and tweeting him, which is something that Brendan's lawyers have told me, not recently, but in past times. Do not do that, because I have asked, because I have the numbers. I'm sounding like a douchebag. I have the numbers. Stephen Avery Project is huge. If I post something, it goes to a lot of people. So I have asked before, do you want me to have people do this? And I've been told, no, do not do it. So for those of you who attack the governor, just know that is not in Brendan or Stephen's best interests. And I know you're angry and you want to do something, but that's just not the right thing to do. If you see Laura Nyrider say something to please tweet this, then go for it. Laura knows best, right? But until then, just stop. Julie says, I don't think Brendan is as concerned about money like Stephen is. No, he's not at all. Now, I do know, I don't know if this is something I'm allowed to say or not, but I think I've said it before, because I'm kind of a blabbermouth. I mean, I do keep stuff quiet. Let's just say that. But when I was the official Facebook page for Brendan and a moderator for Brendan's family group, Kathleen Zellner had asked for Brendan's share of the GoFundMe money, that first big, huge one where she's got Stephen's portion already, but she asked for Brendan's portion for the testing. And so Barb had Brendan decide. And Brendan even put it in writing and said no, because he said he knew Stephen would never pay it back. But nobody knows where Brendan's money went. But other than that, Brendan's not sitting there dreaming of what he's going to do with the money and threatening to sue everybody and anyone and all that. That's, at least at the times that when I used to talk to Brendan. I haven't talked to Brendan in 3 years now, I think. That's just not him. He just wants to go home. It just jumped up on me. So let me scroll back up. Oh, it jumped up a lot. All right. Where was I going? Natasha said, Brendan is still young. At least he'd have some kind of a chance at a life. Absolutely. Julie says, Stephen shouldn't take an Alford. Not to forget, both guys have money from doing the MAM doc once they are released. Yes, Julie, I know from at least what Stephen told me. For Stephen, I don't know what Brendan's deal was, because Brendan and Stephen are separate people. Stephen gets a percentage of the second one. The first one, they were each given $5,000. That's it. That's all they get. But there's a percentage they get. So Stephen can live just fine the rest of his life on the making a murderer money. You're correct. No, you didn't miss too much, Cindy. And hello. Hazel says, I don't think Stephen would take it. He's stubborn. Julie says, you got that right. Something Stephen says all the time. Hazel only watched one of Dominic's video about Melissa. Well, that's safe. Julie says, oh my God, one asshole in some states said that, oh my God, ectopic pregnancy should be reimplanted. Yeah, I know, it's stupid. Petra says, I finished my calls the other day. I need new calls. Yeah, we're only, when I cover the calls next, we're only on call 313. I don't know when I'm getting back to the calls, but yeah, we're not that far. Hazel says, some people think Brendan knows something but isn't directly involved. Could that be a possibility? I have no thoughts either way on that. And hi, Carrie, before I answer that. This is my personal opinion from my time with Brendan. And I could be wrong because I never met Brendan in person. I only talked to him on the phone. I do not think Brendan would be able to live with himself knowing details of a woman being murdered. I think that kid would wear it on his face every day. It would make him sick, physically sick. I'm not talking about throwing up. The kid would be in a severe depression. And I just don't think that kid would be able to cover up a lie like that. So, and like I said, Brendan doesn't talk to me. Brendan doesn't like me anymore because his mother instructed him not to. So I don't say this as, oh, I have to protect my friend Brendan, even though I still greatly care about the kid. I just truly don't think the kid could do that. And if I thought differently, I would tell you. Because I call everything like I see it, period. So if I had any insight into, oh, Brendan's not what you see, he's different behind closed doors or any, I would say that. Brendan doesn't know anything on this case. And I truly worry for him if, but knock on wood, it is proven about Scott and Bobby and that his mom is complicit in it all. That hurts my heart for Brendan to have to learn that. Because his mom is all he has, because his mom makes sure everybody else is taken away if she feels they're getting too close to her boy. That's one of the things she said to me at one point. He's my son, not yours. She gets very threatened. So you have to, in order to have Barb's permission to have the keys to Brendan, you have to follow her rules on it. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the plug, Julie. Give me the thumbs up. Oh, Julie says Twitter is going nuts over this. I'm sure. I don't do Twitter, but I know that's where the guilters like to play. How can you take glee in what is happening to this kid? That's sickening. And Elizabeth says, in the bits of Brendan's interrogation, I watched he was using the word he did XYZ, not Stephen. I find that strange. In the back of my mind, I wonder if he does know something. I don't think so, because also when you watch the whole interrogation, almost everything is said to him first before he says it. And then there are the times that they interrogated him that there's no recordings. So those things were put into his mind then as well. So I would be so unbelievably surprised and upset if anything came out that Brendan did know something. I just I just don't think so. Oh my God, Petra says Kratz even came to life on Twitter today. That disgusting prick. Carrie doesn't think Brendan could do that either. Lynn says this just makes me hate Barb even more. I mean, that's why I keep, and I've done this to Barb over the years too, of come on, Barb, really? She knows something. She knows something that would prove Stephen and Brendan's innocence. Let's just say that. Maz says if it came out Barb knew, she could end up behind bars and then Brendan would be lost if he got out. Well, and this is an unpopular opinion that I have stated. I worry for Brendan's safety if he was released into Barb's custody, into Barb's care. Because Barb has surrounded him with the wacky fans. And Brendan is going to get preyed upon by both people who are going to say he's a killer and then people that think he's going to be their golden ticket. So they want to get, I could see crazy women wanting to get impregnated by Brendan because that would secure them a paycheck, thinking that Brendan is going to be awarded millions of dollars somehow, whether or not it's legally or through books or interviews or whatever. And who Barb is and who she surrounds herself with are all people that don't have Brendan's best interests at heart. Elizabeth, Brendan would never have no one. Laura Nyrider will make sure that Brendan is taken care of if there is no Barb. I am positive of that. That Nyrider would make sure that there was some place for Brendan to go to. Jodella says Barb protects her boyfriend instead of her son. Carrie says, or for fame, Jax. Okay. Petra, it's 1 a.m. there. Good night, Petra. Yeah, it's only 6 p.m. here. Hazel says, no, I'm not saying he did anything more that it. Oh, no, I know that's what you're saying, Hazel, because a lot of people say that he knows something. Kayla is interesting. I used to have a good relationship with Kayla, and you have to remember Kayla was manipulated just like Brendan. And that family is so freaking dysfunctional and a crazy mess. I feel horrible for Kayla. So she was Reed techniqued as well. But I just can't believe that Brendan knew anything. I don't see it of anything. I think it would eat that kid up. And I think it would upset him to know if he knew that his brother killed somebody, a person. I think he would want his brother punished. So I don't think he could have overheard or anything. Jordella says, Kayla, I feel, is smarter than most people think. She's been programmed by family. Well, if you've never seen Kayla's affidavit, just look at that. The girl has the low IQ that many of the family has. And I have heard the family say such horrible things about Kayla. Kayla has told me some horrible things the family has done to her in general. I truly feel bad for Kayla. And I also know Kayla loves her grandma, Dolores, so, so much. And Stephen, not too long ago, was paying her to be Dolores's caretaker. That is perfect. And then money went disappeared, and people immediately pointed fingers at Kayla. And then the family starts talking shit about Kayla again, including Stephen. And then they found out Kayla didn't take the money. It was Christopher, Carla's brother. Any public apologies for Kayla? Nope. Dolores needs help, needs somebody looking after her. Ellen's in Crivets most of the time. Not that he can take care of her. He needs somebody taking care of him too. Kayla has told me my grandma is my best friend. There's genuine love there. And when you listen to the phone calls, the Calumet County jail calls, you hear when Dolores brings up Kayla. You know that Dolores loves Kayla as well. It really upsets me that they try to ruin the relationship between Kayla and Dolores. And they can't just let it be that, yeah, none of you want anything to do with Dolores unless you want to drag her out to be, because everybody knows that Dolores is the most loved one of supporters and fans alike, is, Dolores. So let's drag her out to something she doesn't want to go to get the pictures taken, or let's pretend we did all these good things for Dolores, and post them so you could see, oh, look, we care about Dolores. Where are you every other day? Where are you off camera with Dolores? Nowhere. Kayla would be there 24/7. Lynn says, I'm sure Barb had something to do with Kayla too. She's shady. And Barb hates Kayla too. I was really blown away the first time when I was with the family and they were all just going to town telling me horrible things about Kayla. And I'm like, this is a kid they're talking about. Hazel says, I heard her speaking to Stephen. She was 14, but sounded more like 7-year-old. Right. Well, and again, go look at her. It would be on StephenAveryCase.org. Go look at her affidavit on how that was all written. And, and she's got in there, I hate Stephen and all this stuff. Just look at that and you can see her mental status in that. Jodella says Kayla is a survivor. Hazel says she would have been easily manipulated at that time. And Marilyn has just joined us. Hello, Marilyn. So a question I get on Free Brendan and Stephen Avery Project is people are like, what can we do? there's nothing we can do to help. As we've discussed earlier in this video, trying to rip on the governor and all that, that doesn't help. I know it's what we want to do. You want to lash out at somebody. Get it. Doesn't help. So the only thing you can do, write Brendan a letter. Tell him that you're a supporter. Tell him about yourself. Tell him about your pets. He likes to hear about your pets, and he's partial to cats. Don't be one of those weirdos, because that's why I always talk about there's a difference between supporters and fans. Don't be one of those weirdos that are constantly making these pictures of Brendan's head up in the sky, and then there's a kitty star and all this stuff. Brendan may have a low IQ. You guys don't need to have a low IQ too and make weirdo, crazy, stalkerish looking stuff. That's weird. Tell him about yourself. Just have a conversation with the kid. Take his mind off his troubles if you can. That's what you can do. Try and focus on the positive for him. Don't dwell on the bad. Don't write to him and go, I am so mad that this did. Don't do that. Just say, hey, Brendan, my name is XYZ. I am a supporter from insert where you live there. Tell them about yourself. Tell them what you like to do. Tell them what you like to eat. Jodella says, Dolores knows Kayla deep secret things that happened to her in the family. I think Dolores tries to look after and encourage Kayla's mental status. Yeah, there's a lot of ugly things that have happened. Jen says, I could write him about WWE. Absolutely, Jen. So, if you've just recently seen, Monday Night Raw, or you've gone to a WrestleMania or watched a WrestleMania or any of that, or talked to him about your favorite wrestler, he would love that. Wrestling is something that was very important to him and something he shared with his father, Pete. So absolutely, Jen, talk to him about wrestling. That would be perfect. Keep him up to date on what's happening in the wrestling world. If you're somebody that's, a true fan of wrestling, so write to him after every Monday Night Raw. Is that even still a thing? I'm sorry. I haven't followed wrestling in a long time. So write to him after every Monday Night Raw and tell him, so even when you watch it, get a notepad and a pen and take notes. So we'll help you remember when you now write this all up for Brendan. Oh, he would love it. Absolutely love it. So absolutely do that, Jen. Oh, just not as good as it used to be. Yeah. Yeah, Carrie, or a Pokemon. If you do that Pokemon Go thing, if that's still a thing too, obviously that didn't exist when Brendan was taken, but you could talk to him about your adventures in, trying to catch them all. Talk to him about that, because remember, his life is like on pause. So he was really into Pokemon when they took him. So my son was too. My son's 26, Brendan's 30. I did all that Pokemon stuff with my son, not Pokemon Go, but I love that Pokemon Snap when you were just trying to make sure, because you were trying to capture them and get pictures of every single different Pokemon. So I get the Pokemon fascination. My son had it. Carrie, he's allowed to get books, but they're always only allowed X amount at one time in their cell. And books have to be paperback, and they can get magazines too. So like if there's a wrestling magazine, But they can't have any of those little index cards that are always in magazines of trying to get subscriptions, or if there's anything like a perfume ad, that has the tester, whatever, all that stuff's got to be ripped out. Um, so they can, you know, so they're only allowed X amount of books, but they can then send home books, so if he got new books, he could always send home some books. I don't even know, he might like a Pokemon coloring book, and I'm not trying to make Brendan sound like a child, because I was just discussing adult coloring books on the lunch I went to today, because I mean, that's a thing. Coloring is very therapeutic for people, not just children, to sit there and just color something. So they make adult coloring books, something to just let your mind try and float away. So I'm not trying to make Brendan look more immature than he is when I say, send him a Pokemon coloring book. You never know. I don't know anything about Impact Wrestling. When I was into wrestling, it was WWF. It was before they got sued and had to become WWE. So that's how long ago it was for me. Jen's 8-year-old is starting to get into Pokemon. It was fun. I enjoyed that time with my son. It was a good bonding thing of playing the Pokemon stuff with him, and then getting him the cards and all yeah, I enjoyed it. Julie says, my phone is going to be all covered in butter. Corn casserole for dinner. Butterfingers, but so tasty. I ate my white cheddar Pop Secret popcorn before I came on live. I took some time to just lay on the couch and watch some shows because I've been so incredibly busy. So I'm like, I'm going to do that for a little bit before going live. So I already ate my popcorn. Elizabeth says, you're never too old to color. Marilyn says, I have adult coloring books. I love them. Julie says, I have a color book of butterflies. Got to have colored pencils, though. I got one for Melissa because Melissa is an artist, and people at the prison ask her to draw the tattoos they're going to get, which, she's not supposed to do. But, because they're not supposed to be giving themselves tattoos in there. So I got her an adult coloring book that was of like butterflies and such, because she doesn't draw things from memory. She likes to have a reference, so she wants to see that butterfly and then she'll draw it. So I thought that would be another thing for her artistic side. So, I sent her like a butterfly coloring book thing. No, Samantha, I mean, I go off into all these different things. So you can always replay it. And now I'm going to have to go for 1 second because my dog is really nagging me to go out. And now you don't have the Stephen calls to listen to. So just chat amongst yourselves while I let the dogs out. Who's going out? Is it just Mallory that's asking me to go out? Who wants to go outside? Sorry, that took longer than I expected. Brendan likes the dragonfly. Well, the whole dragonfly thing actually came from us. When we were coming up with a logo for Brendan, the original Free Brendan Dragonfly. So it was not something that was partial to Brendan. It's something we did. Jeff did the logo, the symbol. It has since they changed it, that it's now this. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to rip on Blaine who drew it, but it is the weirdest looking dragonfly thing that they use now. But it's sweet that Blaine drew it, so I like that, but it's weird looking. But a dragonfly isn't something that Brendan wanted us to do. Actually, what Brendan wanted us to do, I think it's downstairs and I'm too lazy to go get it now. He wanted us to make something look like a baseball team. And so I have a hoodie that was made where he wanted it to be Team Brendan. And then Brendan's favorite number is 7. So it has, I believe that's what it was. And so it was 7. And then his favorite colors are orange and green. And so it was done in orange, and it says on your team or something like that. And then he asked in the hoodies we were making that it was just for us that was running his page at that time, that we put our names on it too, because he wanted known that we were on his team. And funny thing is that when we went to one of his hearings in Chicago, we were wearing the hoodies, and then that got the guilters making fun of us on how dare they dress like that to go to court. And then they were calling us hood rats and, that kind of stuff. And it's so funny because we didn't wear the hoodies into court. We wore it outside of court because we knew there were going to be cameras there. Because guess what happened? Can you guess what happened? We were on the news. And so Brendan in his cell was able to see the hoodie. So we did it so Brendan could see his idea and his vision, what it now looked like. Brendan asked us to do it, and that's what we did. Elizabeth says, I got a very rude adult coloring book in Secret Santa. Let me tell you about that. So the lunch I was on today was with a friend of mine who is an elected politician. And so we were talking about, somehow we got onto the topic of adult coloring books, and that she had said something about adult coloring books somewhere. And then, because when you're a politician, you have to think of things differently. And she's like, oh my God, people might think I'm talking about like some nude adult content type coloring book. So that's so funny that you're saying that now. Natasha had one full of swear words. We could fight right here. When Marilyn says, I like to use the gel pens because these are not this one. I prefer, because that one's good too. These are the best gel pens. So these are Pilot, but it has to be bold. I don't like fine or extra fine. Yuck. So it has to have the number 10 here. And if you're very lucky, you can find extra bold. Those are hard to come by. These are the best pens. I've been using them for like 10 years. I will not buy anything but these Pilot number 10 bold pens. I prefer the black, but I've got green and or blue and green and red. So I love gel pens. I just hate that they smear. And I know there's gel pens that say they don't smear, but these still are the better pens. And I'm right-handed, so you don't have to worry as much about smearing. I feel bad for you lefties. Right? Karen saying I may have to get myself an adult coloring book. There's lots of cool ones, and there are ones that they are meant for adults. Oops, it just scrolled on me. Oh, scrolled again. Let me scroll back up to try and find where we left off. I am not an artist, so I can't help you on is it better to use color pencils or pens. If I was coloring, well, for me, and now I'm going to sound really childish, I would still prefer crayons. Why? The sound of colored pencils is like nails on a chalkboard for me. It just starts to bother my ears. So I like crayons. They won't ship the Oreos to you? I haven't even opened the new batch of lemon Oreos I bought or the mint Oreos. They're still in my cabinet. Oh, Elizabeth's telling you where she got the lemon Oreos. There's my commercials on YouTube. Lemon Oreos. Hazel says, oh, so Barb got that tattoo and said she'd get it done for Brendan. I have that tattoo as well. Brendan likes it, because that's what we came up with then. So there are 3 of us that have that tattoo. But it wasn't, oh, Brendan really likes dragonflies. It was, and it's really funny too, because when I do all these different logos for things, it was Brendan's a dragonfly. Melissa is a monarch butterfly, which she actually really loves a monarch butterfly. Steven's a phoenix and did phoenix because, the phoenix crashes and burns and comes anew again and will crash and burn and come anew again. And then the phoenix that Jeff designed is because that Steven is really into cars, obviously. So he made it look like the Firebird logo of the cars. And then years later, another group that started tried to steal that logo and say it was their original, even though I'm like, I've had it on Justice for Stephen because we had it before I took over Stephen Avery Project, because we had a page called Justice for Stephen, which is actually still up, but I don't do anything with it now that we have Stephen Avery Project. But it was on Justice for Stephen forever ago, so it's like, no, we had that, but it's every logo I had for people. It's something that flies, Okay. I'm trying to scroll and find where I was, and people not talking to each other. Talking about coloring and wrestling. And then here's Jen. Screw the haters. I know. I'm sorry, Jodella, that you all want the lemon Oreos, but they are really good. Hello, Twisted, and Twisted prefers crayons and markers. And hold on, let me go let the dogs back in again. Hazel says, I'm a lefty, but I work rounded. It's a right-handed world, so sorry, I can only find a right hand to post as they have no left. I feel for you lefties. My dad and a sister are lefties. I mean, I know you don't know any different, but it still sucks. Jen says, off topic, Jax, but you know how everyone kept posting about that show, Don't F with Cats? That is a really messed up story, very hard to watch. I don't know anything about it. I know I've approved it. But my life right now has been severely so hectic. That I can't look into anything right now. So I know nothing about it. Maybe as we're going into the holidays, and I'm going to guess my schedule will be a little light for, soon. Oh my God, if you're an animal lover, don't do it. Do they show animals being killed? And because I seriously can't take that. No, so if it is serious, something of cats being killed, no, I won't watch it. I can't watch it. Won't do it. It's something, whatever people are going to do, but it's not something I'll partake in, is killing animals. I'm a pathetic person. I've had multiple people yell at me that even if when a mosquito's sucking my blood, I'm like just pushing it off me. And they're like, kill it. And it's like, I'm one of those weirdos too that like, when I'm trying to get in shape and I go walking at the Arboretum, I'll be looking at the ground to make sure I don't step on a bug. Not because I'm afraid of a bug, because I don't want to kill it. I'm way too weird that way. But I'm not a vegetarian, but I don't really like much meat, but I will wear leather, but I won't wear fur. So I know I'm very hypocritical. So, yeah. Natasha says they don't show the actual act, but it leaves little to the imagination. Yeah. No, I don't think I could do it. I don't like, when there's something like that on TV of killing an animal or whatever, I always have to look away. Or I even hate that Bear Grylls show. And then even when they're going to eat, like, oh, we have found this dead rabbit and now we're going to eat it. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch you cutting up a dead rabbit. Or Survivor. I've watched every Survivor season. I used to cover it for my reality TV show website, and I used to interview the survivors when they're kicked off, all of that. Oh, they're going to kill a chicken? Nope, I'm not watching that. So I'm a sap. Twisted says, I fast forwarded through bits. There's some stuff shown, but not the actual deed, but it's needed to tell the story. Yeah, so I would just rather somebody tell me the story than me have to watch anything that's going to be hurting animals. Joe Della says, as you eat them Oreos on your walk to get fit. I am so big right now. I mean, I haven't weighed myself in a couple weeks, but it's like I have never been this heavy in my life. I am in really bad health. And I keep saying, I'm going to get back at it. And then I eat another Oreo. Oh, geez. Natasha says the detective involved in the case even cried it was bad. It also includes a human murder, says Jen. Joe Della says, next to our outdoors, they hunt. I try to get all the deer on my side of property to save them. That's what Melissa talks about, because where the prison is that she's in, they are surrounded by, there's park where animals are protected, as well as on this area, you can hunt. And she's like, them deer are smart. She says they see stuff get in the prison, on the prison grounds, because she's like, they know they can't be shot there. But on the other hand, one of the signs at the prison, because I've told you before, Melissa and Marnie's prison, it's like a school campus. So it's all these different buildings. So you're walking outside from building to building. So when you're walking to the visitor center, one of the signs you pass say, if shots are fired, sit down. And then the picture is, a stick person sitting down. So we're going to shoot people, but you're not going to shoot deer there. What are you whimpering about, Mallory? Mallory, what's wrong with you? And you're not Mallory. Google Luca Magnotta. Carrie says, if there's an apocalypse, I would die too. I can't kill an animal, a bug. Yes. I say that to Jeff all the time, because the way this house is, all our friends know in the zombie apocalypse, you come here. Jeff's one of those, as my son calls him, weird prepper guy. And Jeff is an NRA instructor, so he's got guns. He makes his own ammo, all that, so it's like, you're going to be okay here. And I've told Jeff, I'm like, I'm not going to survive, right? I'm like, even in zombie apocalypse, would I even kill a zombie? I don't know. So I'm like, just let me die. And he's like, nope, I'll keep you alive. And it's like, no, I'm not going to eat that expired peanut butter. I have those arguments with Jeff now when something's expired and he's like, it's still fine. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I want to throw it out. He's like, don't throw it out. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. I'm not going to live. I have to scroll back because it jumped up on me. Jen says it ended up being a catch me if you can case. Twisted said you can Google the don't fuck with cats with Luca Magnotta to get the scoop without watching. Thank you. Natasha says, I was glued to the TV though, just waiting for the guy to get caught. Well, that's good. Yeah, I can agree with that. Jodella says, I'm Dr. Doolittle talking to all the animals. Run, Bambi, run. Get your ass over now. Jodella, I went and saw Star Wars last night, and one of the previews is for a new Dr. Doolittle movie starring, what is his name? Iron Man. Why am I blanking on his name? Because I like him. But yeah, so there's a new Dr. Doolittle coming out. Jen says, and the people on a Facebook group like us tried to tell the police stuff was happening and they didn't listen till it was too late. Oh my God. Carrie laughs and said, I would kill a zombie if I could. Jen says, me and Ray have disagreements about that too. Robert Downey Jr. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, and it got me at the theory. If you could talk to the animal, learn their languages, even get an animal degree. Yeah. So I love Robert Downey Jr. He's a great actor. All right. So we're closing in on 2 hours for this video. So we're going to be calling it a night. I don't know when I will go live next. Saturday, I am volunteering at a multiple sclerosis charity event in Chicago. So I'll be gone all Saturday for that. And Jeff will be working on our kitchen. Sunday, I don't know if he's still working on the kitchen or if he and I will be doing anything together to actually hang out together for once. Monday, I'm going to be at the prison all day, and then I have an event at night. And then Tuesday is Christmas Eve, and Wednesday, Christmas Day. So chances are I won't go live until Thursday at the earliest. And then I would talk about my visit with Marnie and Melissa. I can update you on all that. And we can just free-flowing talk. And then maybe Friday, we can get into the calls some more. So we'll get back on the Calumet County jail calls. And if you want to skip ahead, the Foul Play channel on YouTube's got all the calls. So you can go listen to those. And if you haven't heard them and would like to, you can go into the playlist here at Justice with Jax, and that's where you can see I've been making a video per day. So one video covers 1 day worth of calls, which typically go to about 3 hours. And so, yes, as people are saying, as they're saying goodbye, it will be happy holidays. Since then, yeah, we won't be together until after the holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate. Enjoy time with your family or your friends that are family to you. Try and, do something good. Don't make it all about buying stuff and giving stuff to people. Try and, live in it, because, think about Stephen and Brendan, who, would they want that sweater, or do they just want to be with their family? So try and soak in your family time. Julie, ho, 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 but not a Debbie. Oh my God, that's awesome. So, and write Brendan a letter. I'll end this on that of, I'll need to get posted to again on where to write to Brendan, or if somebody else has it, because I'm going to get off here and probably stare at the TV and not go online. So write Brendan. That'll be your nice Christmas thing to do. Write Brendan a nice letter. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, and don't forget, I did start on Facebook. There is a closed group called MAM Gossipers. So it comes off of MAM Gossip. I have it where you will be automatically approved if you request to get into MAM Gossipers and you're already a member of MAM Gossip. You don't have to wait for an admin or moderator to approve it. It's going to automatically approve you. So MAM Gossipers is where, if you guys want to go and talk about ho, 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 you can have a thread of that. You can talk about politics. You can talk about anything you want. Sky's the limit in there, because we do have fun here in this chat and go off into the weeds and talk about different things. And so people talked about they would like to continue chatting even when I'm, not live. So go into MAM Gossipers and go talk about whatever you want in there. Just be nice to each other. It's one of those things that you really hate, opening the floodgates for people to talk about the things you're not supposed to, religion and politics, or, so try and do everybody's entitled to their opinion, or if you can post pictures of your pets, you can post whatever you want. Oh, Golden Corral, Julie's going to that. I used to stop there all the time going up to Wisconsin. Or if you're not political or political talk upsets you, just don't go in those threads. That's also what I'll do. I just won't go in the thread and read it. And if somebody has a problem of something, click that report to an admin or moderator or whatever it says. And then we'll look at it and determine if something has crossed the line and needs to be deleted. So you can post whatever you want in there. I just want you all to respect each other. So you can say to somebody, if you're disagreeing, you can say, I really hate that. I disagree with that. You can't say, you're a fucking bitch. I can't believe you think like that. That kind of, don't insult the poster. That's all. And then you always can do that block thing where now you don't see that person's post anymore if it's somebody you clearly are not going to agree with. Poof, they're gone, and you never have to read their crappy stuff ever again. Oh, MF just came on as we're just leaving. No dick pics. Yeah. So, all right. I'm really going this time. Now we're at 2:01. I've been on for 2 minutes and 2 hours and 1 minute. So again, final thing. Write Brendan a letter. Be nice. Don't boob pics either. Don't say I feel so bad for you. Don't say don't say to him you think Scott and Bobby did it. Don't bring any drama to him. Just say, hey, I'm a supporter. I live here. Stuff like that. Marilyn, bye. All right. So yes, ending this video. Feliz Navidad. Happy Kwanzaa. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Did I cover them all? Happy Friday. Talk to you guys next week.